It's taking its time. Okay, we should be live now. Good afternoon, Kirsty.
Good afternoon, Nikki. How are you today?
I'm super dupes. I'm just going to share with the audience while we sort of get everyone logging on and everything. So Kirsty and I, we know each other pretty well, and we've been working together for now a couple of years. However, we've still never worked in person. I had no idea that Kirsty is an Amazonian woman. She's 5'10". I had no idea. Because think about that.
Does 5'10" count as Amazonian?
To me it is. I'm 5'4", so anything above 5'6" is huge to me.
When we meet, we'll have to have a photo taken next to each other.
I know, it's crazy. And so any of your suppliers or associates or team members you've not physically in person met yet, you may have a surprise of what the height is.
I shouldn't have told you that. So then when we meet, you'd have been like,
no idea.
Yeah,
no idea. So what are we talking about today, Kirsty?
Today we're talking about one of my favorite subjects, which is LinkedIn Lives, which is a bit meta, really, because we're in a LinkedIn Live.
Oh, in one? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a bit of an odd thing, but it's something that at the minute has got a lot of... people are definitely using it more. A lot of people are wondering whether it's going to be relevant and useful for their business. And a lot of people are scared about it as well, because it's live, it's video. There's a lot of things that people, I think, build up in their heads that they may not necessarily need to. And I just want to sort of talk about them and dispel some myths and sort of really big up the advantages of it and how much of a powerful tool a LinkedIn Live is, I guess.
Absolutely. And how long have I been doing? I think I'm nearly into a year now of doing ours. That's just flown by, because also, I mean, with ours, I'm surprised I've thought of 50 odd different topics to talk about.
It's amazing to do it. Like, we've been doing it for, I think, 2 years now. We started during lockdown, so it must be coming up 2 years if it's not already. And we've done one a week for those. So that's nearly 100 lives or whatever it is. And it's a lot. It's a lot, but when you look back, it's not at all, because you can fit it really easily, really, really easily.
Absolutely. So if anyone hasn't tuned in to one of our business broadcasts before, let me just let you know what's going to happen. So Kirsty's she's an absolute expert in this area. So she's going to take you through the process of starting your LinkedIn Live show, the pros and cons, pitfalls to look out for, etc. But also, because we're live, which is fabulous, if you've got any questions, anything at all that you want to ask about LinkedIn Live, just or how to make a better video, because that's all LinkedIn with it, then please do pop into the comments. Even just to say hi, but also what we love is lots of questions, because Kirsty and I will chat for hours. It's not a problem. We will try and limit ourselves to 30 minutes, but we want to make this as useful as possible for you. So please do pop in your questions, and just so that we know that it is working, if you can just start by putting in hello or good afternoon or good morning if you're in a different time zone, just so that we know, because I always panic, even now too, Kirsty. When you first start, you think, it's working?
No, oddly, I don't.
Oh, you don't? Oh, okay, why?
I don't, and we will come to this later, but to a certain degree, the live viewers, whilst fun and exciting and give you a form of interaction and allow you to prove your credibility, the live itself, being live for a LinkedIn Live, is only probably a third of the power of an actual LinkedIn Live. So
as long as the recording is working, we're not going to worry. We're not going to worry at all.
We're not going to worry at all.
So just although people are watching generally in LinkedIn Live, they could be watching us on YouTube as well, of course. Just explain what is LinkedIn Live? How long has it been about? How do we get to use it?
Okay, so
take your pick of those questions.
I'll do all of it. I'll do as many as I can. So LinkedIn Live has been around.
When you put them all of them to me.
LinkedIn Live's been around for, I think, about 4 years ish, give or take. But to begin with, it was very much like your Ariana Huffingtons and your, like your really high influence people. And then about 2.5-ish years ago, it opened it up to those who were higher up on LinkedIn Live. And then I want to say about 6 months ago, they made the criteria a lot less than it once was. They made it a lot easier to get. There is still some
more accessible.
Yeah, there still are some criteria that you have to match, which helps stop everybody from doing it. But probably a lot of people will hit that criteria, so it's not a big deal. LinkedIn Live, what was it? I forgot. What were the other questions? I've forgotten now.
So how does it actually work? What does it mean, LinkedIn Live?
What you have to do is you have to have access on LinkedIn Live, which I can talk to you through in a second, and then you use a third party. We use StreamYard, and this is what we're currently on now. It's what Mike and I use for ours. It's what most of my clients use, because StreamYard is very, very simple. It's very cheap, and it's just really easy to use. And essentially what you do is you promote live video on LinkedIn, which you can have interactions with people. So a couple of people have popped up. I know some names have popped up that I recognize. And what you do
Hi, Nigel. Hi, Paul.
Hi. You can use LinkedIn Live for, well, let's put it this way. There are 3 main areas of your business, right? There's providing your product or service, whatever it is you're paid to do. So if it's accountancy or if it's recruitment or whatever it might be, you do specific things because you're paid to do them. That's fine. Then the other 2 areas of your business that most people will focus on are getting new clients, whoever that may be. So finding people that you might want to work with, converting that relationship, and then eventually pitching or whatever. And then secondly, you've got your current clients that you want to keep a strong bond with. You want to stay forefront in their mind. You want to protect them from competitor attack. That's generally what the kind of main 3 things that I think most business owners or most senior people are looking to do. LinkedIn Live can help with all of them, but they're definitely going to help with you finding and converting new people and making sure that your relationships with your clients stay strong. The way that it does that is by promoting your credibility, because I've got a LinkedIn Live. I've got my own TV show. Nikki, you've got your own TV show here. And with that comes a certain level of kudos. It makes you seem like an expert. Of course, you are an expert, but it still gives that extra oomph to it. It gives you credibility, because if I'm somebody who's saying like, oh, I know how to talk about this, that, and the other, I'm very good at this, whatever. When you're on live, there'll be questions coming up that you'll answer, and it makes you sort of on your point, on your answering on your feet. It makes you prove your credibility. And then also it provides you a large amount of content. Now I'm going to come back to that in a minute, which is sort of the point that we made earlier about I don't really care how many people watch us live. But content for both sales and for relationship building and development with your current clients is, it's like liquid gold. It's like video gold, whatever it might be. So it's hugely helpful for any area of your business, which is why I think I'm such a big fan of LinkedIn Live, because there's very few tools that you have in your arsenal that are as good as LinkedIn Lives and also have an effect in more than one place, which is why I love it so much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So we were talking earlier about, some people are a bit scared about going into this, to doing a 2-minute vlog, let alone a whole half-hour show or our extended version of an hour. Nigel's got a good question, which is, do you need to have gone to the same drama school as you both to be on LinkedIn Live? Well, I can assure you, Nigel, I did not go to drama school.
This is all natural talent.
In fact, I got usually annoyed for being overlooked, usually for any of the exciting things. I'd be in the orchestra or some crappy role. So
I'm just hiding in the back. Yeah. No, I think it's a lot of people get this, because so on our show, it's very easy to be, I've been doing it for about 2 years. Nikki, you've been doing it for a year. So it's very easy for us to feel relaxed on camera because we've been doing it for a while. And essentially after you've done stuff a lot of times, it just becomes a bit of a no-brainer. Yeah. But for those people who are scared, or those people who feel like they're not going to be as drama school-esque, as we'll put it, Nigel, as Nikki and I are perhaps, there's a couple of things that you can do. So first of all, in my experience, the reason that people don't want to do lives is sort of one of 3 things. One, they're worried that they are going to come across badly, that they're going to talk for half an hour and people are going to find them boring or whatever. Now, with that, they won't. You're an interesting person. Everybody watching this is interesting. But as a general rule, to combat that, what I recommend you do is basically what Nikki's doing now, which is to have somebody else on the show with you. So you can either do it like Nikki does, where you have guests. So Nikki is essentially the facilitator. And gets all the credit for it, which is excellent. And then you can get various people on who are experts. And essentially what you do is you just ask them questions and just let them talk. It's so
and you
much
always just invite them on something that they're expert about. So it's just a conversation.
That's the point. When you
and
have
I
somebody else,
sometimes do solo ones as well, but and people ask how on earth, do I do it? But for me, I just think about it. You need to be an expert in your area as an advisor. So every day you'll be in front of a client talking for half an hour or an hour on a subject. It just happens to be that we're recording it.
And you're having a conversation, even if you're by yourself, you're having a conversation.
Yeah.
It's just with an audience who can't really verbally talk back. They can only interact with, the comments like Nigel had earlier. But if you're really, really scared about it, get someone else within your company to do it. So if you ever watch the recruitment show that Mike and I do, it's very informal because we just have a chat. It's a conversation. Like now, Nikki and I are just having a conversation, and it makes it so much simpler. Not even remotely.
They're not the BBC.
No, but with that becomes the reason that's so important, and the reason conversation helps is because the old adage is people buy from people, right? So if you're using this as a sales tool, which is one of the most powerful ways, or if you're using it to connect with your current clients, you want to be seen as a person. Well, to be seen as a person, you need to have a conversation. So that's how this works. So imperfections are sort of good on this, which is the second thing, is people think that stuff's going to go wrong because it's live, and it will. Like Nikki, I bet you've had it as well, where the live hasn't connected to LinkedIn, or it's gone funny, or your guest has vanished, or something.
I've had a couple times where the LinkedIn live was not working, stuck up, and so you're panicking trying to get it to work. But that got sort of sorted within a few minutes. The worst one I ever had was, it was a poor chap. It was a lovely lad. He's, in his 20s, but to me that's, lad. And he was expert talking about property capital allowances. And I don't know what it was, but the internet connection that day was awful and kept breaking out. And, we kept on, we persevered to the end. But honestly, that was the worst quality broadcast we'd ever had due to technology, not due to the content. So I was just like, well, I just did it again a few weeks later, but slightly changed up with a guy interviewing instead. And it's just that happens. It happens.
Stuff happens. We've had somebody
is the right word. Yes.
We couldn't get through their firewall, so we couldn't have the guest on. So we had to have Mike ring them on the mobile and then put the mobile really close to the thing. We've had all sorts of things happen, honestly. But the thing is with that, the way that you deal with them, it's just to laugh it off and just to be honest, to be like, this is happening. We're going to try our hardest. If not, we'll try again later or whatever. We've had just sound people. We've had connections go as well. We've had LinkedIn drop out. We've had all sorts of things, and stuff will go wrong, but that is sort of almost a good thing. It's obviously not, but you can make it into one because it allows you to be more personable, which is the whole point of this, is that if anybody watching this now will have a measure of you and I, Nikki, they'll have a measure of the kind of people that we are, and that's either going to work well or not. And if it does, they're going
people buy people.
Yeah, and they're going to self-select. If you don't like me on this, you're probably not going to like me to work with me.
No,
because
and you won't want me as your accountant. And that's fine.
Exactly. Self-selecting means I don't waste my time on people who are not going to convert, which is essentially the one thing that none of us have enough of is time. And so it means you won't waste time on them. You're going to get people to self-select and it'll save you time, which is, I'm just a huge fan of it. And then finally, like I said, the last thing that I wanted to speak about, the benefit of this, is a lot of people are scared that no one will watch or that no one will interact or that, they'll just be talking to themselves. My first thing is, so what? Nikki, you've probably done a show where you had absolutely no comments whatsoever. I know I have.
Well, I might have bribed a couple of my employees to do a couple.
Yeah, but it's fine. Mike and I have had plenty of shows where nobody's commented, but it doesn't mean that people aren't watching it. Now, Nikki, you said to me earlier when we were chatting, how many conversations do you have with people that in your mind have never ever seen your show? They've never commented, they've never said that they were coming to the scheduled LinkedIn.
Yeah, never booked in.
Yeah. How many people have said things to you?
Loads. I can't believe how many. That it's almost, if they're on LinkedIn, they'll have usually seen it. And they'll have seen it, that some of them might have watched the whole thing, they might have watched lots of them, but it just gives them, because then they're like, oh yeah, you know how to talk about that, you know about this area, of course you can, let's refer this bit of business to you. Because for me, I'm not always selling direct. It's a lot of my work comes through referring. So, you know, I want the lawyers and the insurers and financial people, all the other people that are referring, you know, if they go, yeah, Nikki and her team, because it's not hopefully always just me. It's not the Nikki show; it's a business forecast show. To you know, to know that we, you know, we're proactive. So yeah, I mean, for me, I know you talked a little bit before on the benefits, but for me, I use this sort of 3 reasons. One is, yes, it's connecting to a wider audience. It's making sure that I'm reconnecting with those referrers and sometimes direct clients, but also, especially during, say, the lockdown, when you needed to share knowledge in a mass way, and you know, for all, you know, the loving world, there's no way that I could literally phone up 400 clients in one day to tell them about this thing called coronavirus job retention scheme. So by using platforms like this, you're just able to go explain what it is, send it out to everybody, and job done. Yes, there will be follow-up questions and you can then have your meetings with that, but that was just so powerful. And in fact, I won clients back from that. Some clients that had, you know, not fallen out with me or anything, but had just gone, oh, I just want to try this other
everybody does it. Everybody does
practice, which is fine. But those bigger practices were doing nothing like this. All they were doing was trying to make sure that they build as much as possible, which that's not necessarily a bad thing. But you know, by the fact we were so proactive in giving the messages out, I got them back again.
Yeah, well, that's the main point of this, is you're giving value. So whether that's giving value to your prospects or your current clients, you give away your best stuff, because then people think, oh my God, if I pay for it, how good is it going to be then? And it's still just as good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So with that though, I mean, Nikki, this is something that you do, and it's definitely something that we do on our show, is that you aren't restrained to your area of expertise. You know, your area of expertise.
I'll talk about anything.
Yeah, but you know, your area of expertise is accountancy.
Yeah.
But your audience, the people that you deal with, don't only care about accountancy. They're going to be business owners.
It's their business.
They're going to do. They want loads of things that they can talk about that are of value to them. And the best thing about this is you can get all of the credit by getting someone else to do the work. Getting me on here today, hopefully, I'm adding value to people by telling them how powerful LinkedIn is. And in a second, I'm going to give you like the steps that you need to go through loosely. Is that you can add value in ways that your expertise doesn't allow you to. And so you're going to give value in so many different ways on a broadcast medium. And my favorite bit is you are currently, Nikki, broadcasting to LinkedIn, which is where people are watching this mostly, I'm guessing. But you're also broadcasting live to YouTube at the same time. So on LinkedIn, it'll be on your posts for the next week or so, and it'll be in your archive posts, and that's fine. You get a little bit thing. But on YouTube, you have a library of content, of valuable content that you can use in multiple ways. You can send people directly to it. You can, very often you'll have similar questions that come up, you know, in your area. I imagine you get very similar questions about accountancy sort of every now and again.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, you often feel like, let's just put the tape on because
but this is the way you can do it. Again. You can say like, oh, I've got a video on that. Let me send it through. If you're at a networking event and you wanted to talk about someone, you can steer the conversation to your most recent LinkedIn Live and say, oh, I've got a video on that for my show. I'll send it through to you when we connect on LinkedIn. First of all.
Absolutely. Yeah, actually, I did just that last week on share options. Yeah. What a client was wanting to know about it. And I was like, okay, there's my different articles on my website. These vlogs that I've got, if you just want a 2-minute one, if you want a whole half hour, here's some of my business broadcast show.
It just
whole
gives
library
you
of content.
such credibility. The credibility that you've got, especially in a lot of areas at the moment of flooded markets. You know, there's a lot of people and you're trying to really differentiate yourself and it's quite difficult to do. Having a video library of content, which is essentially just us talking for half an hour, that's all. You probably, for each LinkedIn Live, Nikki's a max an hour's work, right? So half an hour live, 15 minutes prep time with us where we go through and talk about what we're going to discuss. And then, you know, doing all your publicizing and stuff, 15 minutes, half an hour max. So
precisely, because you should be talking about stuff you really know. So yeah, I rarely prep for more than half an hour.
You don't really need to, because you know what you're doing.
A bit more prep if it's on a new area of legislation or something, and so it's the new coming along. But
if you're dealing with legal stuff, I imagine it does.
Yeah. Well, new tax legislation and things, but otherwise, you know, it's stuff that you're talking about every day. So it's well, it's more how do I shorten what I need to talk about, not lengthen it. So Kirsty, just to make sure we get the maximum out, we're coming to our last 10 minutes. Take us through step by step. What do we do? So you've captured the audience there. Okay. Nigel, Paul, everyone else that's watching at the moment, they're going to go, yes, Kirsty, I believe you. What do I do now?
Okay, so first of all, what you need to do is you need to get it signed up on LinkedIn. Now, it's really easy to do that. Most people will have access to it. The criteria that you need to meet is you need to have 150 followers or 150 connections, whatever that may be.
Most people have.
Most people do. You need to regularly publish content that's your own. So that means not just reposting stuff. Essentially, you need to have you need to write, it could just be like 2 or 3 sentences as your little posts on LinkedIn, but you need to have a history of doing that. Not every day, not even necessarily every week, but regularly you need to have access to that. You also need to make sure that you haven't broken any of LinkedIn's guidelines. As long as you haven't been banned, you should be fine. And then the other thing is,
I've never known anyone that has been banned.
Neither have I. That's what I mean.
Very boring network.
Most people are hitting this criteria. And then the last thing is, unfortunately, it's currently not available in mainland China. I don't know why. It just isn't. So yeah. So if you hit all of those criteria, you're not in mainland China, you have 150 followers or connections.
Probably not in Russia at the moment either, but anyway.
I don't know. So if you've got that, so essentially all you need to do is go into the LinkedIn homepage and where you would normally write your post at the top. If you go to event, scroll down, it says type of event, click on live. And if you can do it, if it's there, you're okay. You've got access. It's really, really simple to do. Once you've done that, you then need to sign up to a streaming agent. As I said,
that's changed then, because when I did it, I had to do
it is easier now.
Form.
It is a lot easier now.
Oh, am I going to be allowed or not?
I think about 6 months ago.
Much easier now.
And you sometimes have to be in content creator mode, which is very easy to do as well. It's just setting your profile. You then need to sign up to your system. Like I said, we use StreamYard. It's excellent. There is a free version, but I think
StreamYard is cheap as chips.
I think it's like £15 a month, isn't it? Or like £10. It's nothing. For the amount of money that you'll get from doing this show, it's nothing. Just pay for the subscription. There are other ones around, but you normally have to pay, otherwise you get like a StreamYard logo up here or something. So register for StreamYard. It's hugely simple, and you can just connect everything up. It's really easy. Next, figure out if you've got any. That's the one.
There you go.
That little sucker. So if you pay for it, you can take that off, which was much better. Much better. Then you can go through and do all sorts of branding and things, but it's not necessary to get started. A lot of people will get caught up on, will I have backgrounds and what color and what am I going to name the show? Don't worry about it.
About that.
Basics is fine. We ran our show for a year before we got loads of stuff on, so it's absolutely fine. You add value either way. The real key thing to figure out before you start your show is threefold. So, first of all, you need to figure out your audience. So who are you aiming this at? That could be you're aiming at a specific sector. It could be you're aiming at a job title, a location, whatever it may be. But you need to think about that audience, because the people that you're going to have on the show, the topics that you're going to discuss, are going to be based on that audience. It's not necessarily about your expertise, although that does come into it. I would probably say 1 out of every 4 should be around your area of expertise. But as a general rule, at least, add other people in. Think about the wider area of what your audience is interested
Yeah,
in.
I do. I think one solo a month, one on
Mhm.
succession planning a month, one on tax a month, and one mystery special dip
Miscellaneous.
one like this one.
Yeah, I'm a mystery. I like that. But yeah, so you need to consider your audience when you're doing this. And if you're really like unsure about it, just talk to some of your clients. Use it as an excuse to get into
Yeah.
get into contact and say, like, I'm thinking of doing this. What kind of topics are interesting to you right now? Use it as a reason to interact with your clients. The second thing that you need to consider is the perfection piece that we spoke about earlier. When it comes to this, don't get worried about your branding. Don't get stressed about it. Don't get stressed about the fact if your first couple are a little bit jolty and, a little bit. Perfection is not the aim here. Personality is the aim here. And in my experience, perfection just sort of smooths over personality and just sort of wipes it out a little bit.
Yeah, and even if you're got fantastic technical content, and if the delivery is boring, honestly,
Yeah, you've got to keep someone engaged for half an hour, which
yeah,
is, I can't believe what we've only got 5 minutes left because this has gone really quickly because it's just been a conversation. It goes by very quickly. And there will be moments in this where, it's not gone as smooth as it could have done. But that in itself, there's been moments where Nikki and I have had a bit of a laugh and a bit of banter with each other. And granted, we do know each other quite well, so that's very helpful. But you can have that with people. It's not difficult to do. The whole point of this is your personality is coming across, because in personality sales, if you've got 3 or 4 of these videos where you're consistently the same and friendly and nice and knowledgeable, people are going to feel like they know you. You're going to skip that first 2 or 3 steps of the relationship process. So it's really important to do. And then the third thing to consider, to just get in your head before you get stick into this, is don't get caught up on the numbers. It doesn't matter how many people watch you live. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many people tell you or comment on things. It doesn't matter. The point of this is that you are going to have a library of content, you are going to have credibility, capability, and you are going to be in front of your network. Even if they don't watch all of it, the fact that you've got it is powerful. So once you've got that in your head, the next thing to do is to start thinking about topics for your lives. Now, I would try and get maybe 6 topics, of which, if you're really pushing for, at least 3 should be guests, really. If you're struggling to get those 6, don't go for a weekly show. Start with a monthly show.
yeah.
Okay, because you can always, it's so easy to add more shows in. It's a lot harder to cancel them just mentally. Like, technically, it's very simple to do, but mentally for you, cancelling a show is going to be a bigger of a deal than adding in a new one. So go for monthly to begin with. That's all you'd need to do. Half an hour show, plan it out with your person. Be like, okay, 5 minutes on this topic, 10 minutes on this topic, 10 minutes on this, 5-minute round off. Bob's your uncle. It's easy. You only have to talk about your topic for 20 minutes. It's very, very simple. Very, very easy. And then what you have to do is just run it and have a laugh. Enjoy it. Have fun with it. Because it is fun, Nikki, don't you think?
It is. I love it. I love Fridays. Fridays are my favourite day. I just, I start my day off with the early morning meeting for succession planning. Then I got a board meeting with a client. Then I come into this and I have a chat with one of my favourite people. And then I just wait for the Ocado delivery later in the day. Perfect.
Amazing food.
That's the Friday.
The whole point of this is, if you go into it expecting that you're going to have fun and that you're going to get value from it, you will.
Yeah.
And
I always learn something from the speaker.
Yeah. And you may feel that it's kind of 2 or 3 steps removed from the money, but remember, this is a tool. So you have to actively use it. Yes, by just announcing it on your LinkedIn page, it's going to get viewers. Of course it is. But you have to use it. You can, when you connect with people, if you're trying to grow your network and trying to add people, when you connect with them, if you want to start a conversation with them, say something like, I'm not going to bombard you with sales or anything like that, but I do try and add a lot of value to my network. I regularly post the LinkedIn Live. Here's a link to my last one if it's interesting to you. Straight away, the power there. The power.
So let's see if I just remember. Audience was in there.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about perfection.
No, don't stress about it.
And
don't stress about the numbers.
Don't stress about numbers.
Don't stress about it. Don't stress about it.
And also remember this: if no one's watching, no one else is going to know that no one's watching. who knows? You might have you could just say, I have thousands of people watching. It's fine. But it's exponential. So you might get 6, 10, 20, 30 on your live. That is exponential to who ends up watching it.
As a general rule, our rule
huge.
As is, we probably get between 4 or 5 times as many people watching the video when it's not live. So if we say got 5 people on the live, just to make the numbers easy for my head,
12:30.
Yeah, then we'd get that many people watching it live. It's normally a lot higher. Oh, sorry, 30%, not 3. 30. So we normally get if we get 20 viewers, we'll normally get between 500 and 600 people viewing it in total.
Yeah.
And that's just on LinkedIn, not YouTube.
That's huge exponential. And the same as I see that sometimes I'll, a couple hours later, I'll scroll through my LinkedIn and I'll go, how many views? It's great. It's great. And it's just there, you get then a lot of people, because a lot of people do only pop into LinkedIn once a week and things, they're not on it all the time like me. Well, I don't, to be fair, I'm not on it all the time. I pop in daily.
Yeah,
pop in daily.
People pop in a couple of times a day.
Mike Ames 15-minute a day rule.
Oh yeah, he's got a lot of rules, hasn't he, Mike?
Yeah,
got a lot of rules. But yeah, 15 minutes a day is all you need, and all you need to do is just get someone's attention for 10 minutes every 3 or 4 shows. That's all you need.
So audience, perfection. Don't worry about the numbers. They'll grow. You'll get your regulars.
Just get started. Just register on LinkedIn. Get StreamYard. Plan out 6 or 7 of your vague topics and get a couple of people in, or get someone else to do it with you. Just do it. Just get started. Just start doing it.
Just do it. Perfect. Thank you so much, Kirsty.
You're very welcome. If anybody has any questions or anything, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn.
Guess what? Kirsty's on LinkedIn. So yes, just do connect. And if you're not sure, I'm obviously connected to her as well, so go through my connection as well.
If you've got any questions or queries, or you're worried about it, I'm more than happy to give as much value to you as I can.
Just contact us direct, or just pop it up on the post underneath the video, and we'll keep monitoring and we'll come back to it. But thank you so much, Kirsty. It was a delight to speak to you on a Friday.
Very fun to be here and not running.
Earlier in the week I talked to you, so that's lovely.
It's a twofer this week.
Lovely. And so next week we are talking about cloud applications, I believe. So it's the outsourced finance department talking about how you make your cloud software system, accounting software system, even more powerful. So it's almost like an ERP system for a tiny fraction of the price. So that's what's next week. Kirsty, I'll see you again probably next week, probably talking about vlogs. I'm so excited about seeing you in a couple of months' time for have you heard we're going shooting?
Are we? And you're going to finally actually be able to see how tall I am in real life.
Yeah. So we're going shooting. That's what's happening. So very excited about that. We'll have to work out, are we going to broadcast from the shooting range in July?
We'll definitely get a photo of us next to each other so you can see the height discrepancy. Me as a giant, you as a normal human size.
Be brilliant. Anyway, thank you very much for everybody for watching, whether it's on YouTube or LinkedIn. Please do subscribe to the YouTube if you're on YouTube, and also please do link to us if you're on LinkedIn. Lovely to see you, and have a lovely weekend. Let's hope it's nice and sunny. Cheerio.